Hello, welcome back to another part of our series to Taiwan's only all-English radio station and only all-English stream platform, that is ICRT and TaiwanPlus. Today, we'll be speaking with a Taiwanese-Australian singer-songwriter who's recently just competed on Australia Decides 2022, which is the selection process of, Eurovision. And her name is Jaguar Jonze. What's up?
Hello, thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here. Unfortunately, you won't be representing Australia this time around to go to Eurovision, but it's never about that because I think personally, competition should be about personal growth. So what do you feel like, this time around, what is that part of your personal growth?
I mean, to represent Australia would be amazing, but I didn't go on to Eurovision Australia Decides with that in mind. I was going on it as a personal triumph to myself. I came into Eurovision Australia Decides with my message, with the song Little Fires, and that is to, be able to define my own power and use my voice and claim my space back and no longer be silenced and small and, kept below a glass ceiling. So I was really, really, really anxious and nervous to go out on stage because it was so personally tied in with my own trauma and my own story. Mm-hmm. But to be able to conquer that was a huge relief.
I remember watching that, and Little Fires is a powerful song, by the way, and I do remember getting goosebumps when you were at the tail end of that performance. In fact, I got a little goosebumps while you were talking about it all over again. You got visibly emotional during the performance, and especially at the end of it where you thanked your audience, thanked your fans for the support over the last 2 years. And I think a lot of that courage is from your upbringing. Your mom's Taiwanese, dad is Australian, and I've read that, childhood wasn't always rainbows and butterflies. Can you tell us a little bit about what growing up was like in Yokohama, Japan, and then what led you to, your life in Australia?
Yeah. So I was born in Yokohama, Japan, and I lived there for basically the first 7 years of my life.
Yeah.
And I guess this is where things get really complicated because I'm half Australian and half Taiwanese. I was born an Australian citizen. And when my parents split up, but my dad didn't want anything to do with me, it actually meant that my mum, who's Taiwanese citizen, and me, who is Australian citizen, couldn't be together so easily. So it was a really difficult time, and we had to fight and give so much into court proceedings to allow my mum to live in Australia. And she got her Australian citizenship when I was 14. So that's a long time that it took for families, which, the concept of family is it should be easy to be together, but actually, there are systems in place where people can fall through those cracks in those systems. Yeah. And I definitely feel like I slipped through the cracks in the system that protects us, which meant I did have a difficult life, but it is what made me who I am today. And my mum, who is Taiwanese, she taught me so much because watching her growing up fight continuously and never give up to make sure that she could be with me and have a life together, that nothing ever threw her, out of having that. She just continually took those baby steps closer to what she wanted. I feel like most Taiwanese people I meet are very similar in that sense, where they just keep on fighting and have the thickest skin, because my grandma, who just recently passed away, she was the same. She was so strong, so strong. And I think the women in my family are just all incredibly strong. And I'm lucky to have had that resilience be my example so that I could apply it in my own obstacles every day.
I think that strength might have come from, Taiwan being an island that's been colonized by so many different cultures. and having to, live through that and still make something out of yourself is not easy. And I'm so glad that, that's been passed on. You would, of course, say that your mom is a strong woman, right?
Oh, yes.
I know there's this stereotype about Asian women being, docile and obedient.
Oh, yeah.
But the truth is, strength doesn't have to come through from raw power. Like, sometimes that perseverance is so much more powerful than you can possibly imagine.
Oh, and I totally agree. And when you say raw power, I actually think when they are being strong and quiet, that is still raw power. But when we hear raw power, we're thinking like the typical interpretations of that power. So like aggression and loudness and, like outward expressions. When really power comes in all sorts of forms, and strength really is the ones we don't see most obviously.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that that has morphed you into who you are today. And really, we have so much more to look forward to in the future. You have a new album on the way that's going to be out in June, right?
Yes.
You're currently touring Australia with one of the first promotional singles from this album, which is called Trigger Happy. And the album Bunny Mode should be out sometime in June. But are you planning to tour elsewhere? Maybe come to Taiwan as well?
Are you in Taiwan now, or are you?
I'm in Taiwan right now.
Oh, you are.
That's
in
why
Taiwan
I'm asking.
Now. That's so cool. I wasn't sure when you said Taiwanese Canadian. I was like, both is so cool. Like, what? Yeah. Oh, Joey, it would be my dream come true if I could tour Taiwan. Like, if I could make that a possibility, I would cry, because like when I started out on this music journey, I said to my label, I was like, I want to get to Taiwan. Like, that is my motherland for me, because I haven't been able to get to know it well. And the last trip I went to before COVID was Taiwan.
Oh, okay.
Like, I feel lucky I was able to have that. But like, Taiwan is my motherland, and to be able to tour there would be such a dream come true. And also a great excuse to go traveling in Taiwan again, which is my absolute favorite. So yeah, I mean, I'm just going to like manifest to the people of Taiwan to try and help me make it happen. And I'll definitely accept it with open arms.
Well, first off, as a Taiwan-based English radio station, I could say for sure that if you come to Taiwan, we'd love to have you for more than one sessions of interviews, or to debut your or to promote your music. But certainly, we're going to do our best. Me personally, going to do my best to get you here in Taiwan and to share your stories with the Taiwanese people. Don't forget us.
Oh,
okay?
I never will.
Taiwan is a haven for LGBTQ and for artists. Like,
totally. What's that area next to Ximen thing that's like
the Red Brick House, where they do drag shows every Saturday? It's amazing.
I watched a Taiwanese Christmas movie. It's not like a Christmas movie. It was so beautifully done. But it was about two schoolboys like kind of finding love with each other and exploring. It was a pretty big movie, I think, but I watched it with my mum because I really wanted her to like, we just start these conversations together, and the movie was just so well done, and it was Taiwanese, and it just allowed my mum to understand.
Yeah.
That we're all humans, and we all,
Yeah.
feel love and need love, and we were just able to have this like beautiful conversation after it about it. So yeah, it's really cool.
How are you going to celebrate Mother's Day, by the way?
Yeah, good question. We, as you would probably understand, we like surround, what do you call it? We find food really important in our relationships and, our like affections to each other. So I'll definitely take mum out for her favorite meal.
Okay.
Yeah.
What's that? Can I ask? What's your favorite type of food?
Japanese is probably our favorite. So we do love like your traditional omakase kind of style, or like yakitori, or
Yeah.
Oh, this is funny because like stinky tofu is like illegal in like, it's not like illegal, but it is like
socially unacceptable, or
there's like restaurants in Taiwan, Taiwanese restaurants in Brisbane that have stinky tofu, but they can never go too far with the fermentation process. There's like you know, if like stinky tofu was like a sound meter, it was like a limited amount of decibels allowed on stinky. And they literally said, we are not allowed to go further than this point because the city council like complains, all the other restaurants around them complain about stinky tofu. So they do stinky tofu, but it's just like 10%.
Okay, so wait, it's a subjective, arbitrary like meter, right?
Yes.
Like if it gets too stinky,
yeah,
then people complain. So it's not like a scientific measurement of how much fermentation you can have.
No, there's not like a person, like a government official that's got like a radar holding and it's like, whoa, you're over the stinky tofu limit. Well, calm down. It's not like that, but like they've like, you know when it's like kind of underground communities and they've tested the like limits of the communities around them and they're like, this is the limit, we don't get complaints about our stinky tofu level. But it makes me sad because I want stinky tofu.
Oh, I get you. So I love how the Taiwanese people have to go, okay, so they have Vegemite. It's Vegemite, right?
Yeah.
We'll figure out how that stink is, and then we'll figure out what like goes with.
Yeah, the equivalent, yeah, totally.
Thank you so much for joining us here today, and please make sure that when you have new music out to let us know so we can help promote it. And Jaguar Jonze, thank you so much for being here. Everyone go listen to Trigger Happy and expect the release of Bunny Mode June 3rd. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey.